Hey people, it's me. So, anyways, as far as my last video that I titled Emotional Toil and all of that, and I could recall, as far as another kind of emotional experience there, where something was wrong with me that way for quite a while, and it was probably around the fall of 2000, and I was already a year out of high school, and then here I was meeting up with some of the friends there from high school that were a grade behind me because they were already had experienced their first semester there. Yeah. So, not only that, one of my old teacher's aides was taking a class there to get a full-time teaching credentials as far as that goes. So, anyways, everything seemed to felt out of place. Like how everybody was going to the whatever directions they were going to, and yet I felt like I was out of place, like I didn't know where I was going, and I just wasn't feeling myself at that time. I mean, it gotten so bad at one point where right after uh, both my parents had left for work, and one of my brothers had also left for work, and I was waiting for the bus, and then I was going around talking to myself about what was wrong with me and all of that, and then out of nowhere I started crying because of how I felt like it was like a year out of there, and I hadn't really accomplished a whole lot out of that point, and I was being a little bit hard on myself in that matter, because I felt like I wanted to do a whole lot more, but I felt like there was always somebody in the way that I had to waste exuberant amount of energy trying to prove myself to that person or people for that matter. You know, I always kept blaming the people as far as the IE people there because of that. Because of the fact that I barely interacted with them, and somehow they knew better than what my parents knew better and all this sort of stuff. And as I kind of said in my previous vlogs about all of this, that it was all about these sort of things like that, where Asperger's wasn't really on the books long enough for them to have a firm grip of things and what to do and what not to do. And all this other stuff there, and it was just, I was a victim of that time and all that, and as I stated before about all that, I mean, it could have been a whole lot worse for me, you know, which I wouldn't really go into detail about all of that, but honestly, it would have gotten a whole lot worse for me at that point. And, there were many times that I felt like I probably wanted to end it all and all that, and then there's always been somebody there, would tell me that everything would have gotten better at one point or another, and ultimately it did in some ways. You know, I mean, if I hadn't, you know, I probably would have never met any of the new friends, and never would have came out at that point, and I would have never met any of the boyfriends that I had, at some point, I mean, what if it was Ricky or Raul or any of the other ones, at some point, And any of like the newer friends there, I mean, that would have been the case, I mean, I would have never met any of these type of people there. Would have never experienced all these other little things if I had bailed out at that point. And honestly, here I am now, going to be like 37 at that point, and whether if I'm just going through some sort of change again, this is just something I have to realize, that I'm just getting older, and there are certain things that are just changing around and all of this, and that I have to just get used to these sort of changes, and that these sort of things are usually temporary as far as whatever it is, and you know that sort of stuff. I mean, the last things that I had mentioned on some points, about that I had to also deal with other changes that are kind of unpleasant in the coming years at this point, when my parents are no longer going to be around, or any other relatives are not going to be around anymore, because it's just their time to go for whatever it is. you know and not only that, there's all these other things that I have to deal with, you know as far as that goes. And that maybe I should have put that song to my heart, as far as that goes. Move Along by All American Rejects. That, sure, everything is bad and whatever it is, but then we have to kind of toughen up a little bit and not let these sort of things get to us just because of all the crazy shit that we've gone through for whatever reason it is. But honestly, I had to look at it all this, where if I made any better decisions at that point. But then honestly, it's better for me to make the certain mistakes at that point, just for me to figure it out on my own, and rather than having somebody figure them out for me. Because they're not always going to be around, and then I have to learn to make these kind of decisions on my own. I mean, that was always been the case when it came to Dad getting in the way of Ricky, or Mom getting in the way of the actor and Josh, or any of the other ones. Is that if I didn't stand up to them, they're gonna continue trying to dictate everything of my life at that point. And then once they're gone, what am I gonna do? That's the big problem at that point there, and that was always been the case why I hated certain people doing these sort of things like that. So, anyways, I guess that's probably it until next time. So, talk to you guys later.